Okay, so opening Excel is just like you're opening a Word document. That's how it is. When it opens up, what you have is a blank sheet. Now, for a blank sheet, this is how it will look like. This is a sheet which is blank, and it will look like this. Now, what you have in Excel, when it has opened up like this, are what you call cells. Which are these cells? These, when I click on a cell, you see what is being highlighted? It's a square, right? That's what you call a cell. Okay? So these ones are independent, but they are working together. How do you name a cell? A cell, you name it by letter and number. So like this cell here, it's called A1. This other one is called B1. This one is called B2. If you don't want to follow that, you just click on any cell, come here, and it will tell you the cell name. Okay? That's how it works. Just above here, this is 90% Word. These are, you've got the home, insert, page, layout, all these. The tools are very similar as those in Word. So if you come to the home, under the home here, all these here, these are formatting tools. You are very much aware of this, how to highlight things and what. But in Excel, when you click on a cell, and then I click on probably highlight that, it just highlights the cell. You see that? Okay, so that would be some of the slight differences that you have. Alignments, formatting, all these are in Word. Okay, so if your Word is limping, even your Excel will also limp. Okay, so that's what you do. If you're entering information in Excel, you go ahead, probably enter. When you enter information, you press enter, it falls to the next cell. When you enter information, then you press tab, the tab button, it goes to your right. Okay? Then if you want to highlight something in Excel, if it's one cell, you just click on it, it is highlighted. But if it is 2 cells, 3 cells that you want to highlight, you just double click, drag, just like you do it in Word. If you want to highlight to your left, to your right, just double click on it, go to your right. When you do that, you can perform an action that you want to perform. That's how basically Excel works like. Okay? Now, if you're able to do this, there are other things that you might need to be aware of. Like for instance, if I say 1, sorry, maybe a little bit smart there. 1, 2. Now, if I want to make a list of numbers, the easiest way for me to do this is to highlight these 2 numbers which are already in a sequence. The sequence has already been indicated. It says 1, 2, which means the next one is 3, isn't it? So, which means if I highlight these 2, then I come where there is that edge, that solid box on the edge. You see that one? Then I double click on it and drag down. It repeats the sequence. Let's repeat the sequence, or it follows the sequence. Yes, it will follow the sequence, which means it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can go as many as you want. If you put 2, 4, it will follow that same sequence. Okay? Just like that. If I probably put Monday and Tuesday there, I actually don't even need to put Monday and Tuesday. It knows that when I put Monday, it's a day. So I just drag, it will follow that sequence. You're doing that. Even for months, it will do the same. Now for months, it's yours to do. Okay? Now, these are just some small nitty-gritty. Now, when somebody tells you Excel is a book, open an Excel booklet, what they simply mean is that when you just open Excel, that is already an Excel booklet. Why? Because it has got sheets in it. Now, these sheets, usually they are hidden. You have to prompt them out. How do you prompt them out? Are you seeing that I've got a lot of tabs here, down? Okay, these are what you call sheets. These sheets are what they make up an Excel booklet. Now, how do I add sheets? Have you seen there's one sheet 1 there? I can add another sheet here by clicking the add the plus there. So I'm saying new sheet. You have a new sheet. Okay? That's how you add a new sheet. Then for the other nitty-gritties, you'll be catching up as we are going, but I'll still give you the video which will take you step by step. Okay? So we did the part for filtering of data. So today we will not do filtering, but I'll still give you the video for the filtering. It's simple. It's as simple as it is. Okay? And we did a part of duplicates. But now we are picking it up from data validation. Trust me, you will not miss out on those two which have jumped in. You'll be able to catch up easily. As I'm speaking, that's how you'll be listening to the video. Okay? Alright. So now we will go to data validation. Because this Excel is focused on data validation, on data analysis. Okay? So when it comes to data analysis, there is a part that you have to be, for you to have proper data to analyze, your data must be put in such a way that you put restrictions on what data can enter and what data cannot enter. Because you are avoiding garbage data. Because if you have got loose data coming in, you have a problem analyzing it. Okay? So, why is data validation important? It is important because it's a huge cost to collect data. And when you've got a lot of mistakes in the data, you might be unable to correct those mistakes, and of which it is going to be a huge cost. So to reduce the number of errors in the data collection, you use some of the data validations. So in Excel, some of the data validations that you can be able to do, for instance, you're collecting for ages of people, okay? And the data you're collecting, since it's in age, someone cannot put a letter or put a decimal. So all the numbers that I'm supposed to put should be in whole numbers. Now, if I come here, I can be able to enter probably say E. I enter E there. I can be able to enter 12 there. There is no problem because it's allowing anything. But if I want to restrict it to say only whole numbers, I can be able to do that by highlighting the cells in which that validation must be placed. Now, in this case, I want to say all the cells from 2 to 11. Now, for me to be able to do that, I can be able to double click. I can be able to double click, then drag to the number of cells that I want. Now, there are cases whereby you may not want to drag. What you can be able to do is say, press shift. When you press the shift button, you click on the down arrow and it will be highlighted step by step. Oh, I don't want to stop there. I want to go back the up arrow. Okay? That's how you can be able to do it. Now, I've highlighted the cells that I want to apply this rule or this data validation. After I've highlighted, I go to the tab called data. When I go to that tab, I go to, where is validation? Data validation here. So I go to data validation. I click on data validation. There's this pop-up. When I have this pop-up, I go to where it says any value. When you see this arrow down here, it's showing you that this is a drop down. So I click on it, then I go to whole number. Under whole number, I'm able to state whether I want the numbers that should be entered to be between a particular number. For instance, if I say that all the respondents should be 18 years and above, I can be able to say, okay, the minimum should be this, the maximum should be that. Okay? So if I just want it to be, you have these options, not between or equal to, not equal to, greater than, you can be able to choose those options there. Okay? So in this case, I want it to be 16 years to probably 65 years. These are the people that when they are entering their age should be allowed. So if I come here and say, okay, when I come here and say 1, it gives me an error because this goes against the validation rule. Okay? Which means even if the person wanted to enter by mistake, they'll be alerted to say you're making a mistake. Okay? If I come here and try to enter a letter, it will still refuse. So now it restricts me to 16 years, 17 years, no problem. If I try to put 90, they cannot be able to go through. So I'm entering some variations. Okay. Alright. Now you can also do a text length rule. For instance, you're collecting NRC numbers, or probably you're collecting phone numbers. Now, you find a situation whereby someone exceeds their phone number by 1 digit or something, or they put a phone number with a less digit. And when that happens, you don't know where the digit was missed. So it's really hard to get it right. So in this case, you can enter a validation rule to say, you're going to enter text length of this much. When they enter anything below that, you should be able to alert them to say, you have made a mistake. So how do you do that? Same thing, highlight, go to data validation. I come here and I say text length. And the text length, I'll be able to say, should it be between a particular length or not? In this case, I want it to be a fixed length. It means it should be equal to 10 if it's a phone number, or if it's an NRC number, should be equal to how many? 2, 4, 6, 9, including the slash? 11. So which means if it is an NRC, you put 11. If it's a phone number, let's put should be equal to, not equal to. Have you seen when you do equal to, only remain with one box to enter there. So it should be equal to 10. Since we are dealing with a phone number. Come on. Okay. Then I just say okay, which means that validation has been enforced. Now, let me do this because you will not see it happen. So I'll do this. Okay. So now, when you're entering a phone number, you will say, for instance, my number is 0974887728. Okay? Then if I press enter, it will refuse. But yet I've entered how many digits? 10. Now the reason why it's refusing is this. I cancel. I come down here where I've not entered any validation. I'm going to enter my phone number. 0974887728. Okay? When I press enter, you see what happens? The 0 is offsetted. So which means you are remaining with only 9 digits. That's why it's refusing. Now the reason why it's refusing is because of the format of the cells. What is the format of the cells? The format of the cells is general. When it is general, when I enter a number 01, Excel considers this to be 1. Because the format is general. If I tell you I'll give you 01 computers, which means it's just one computer. So Excel understands that. So it offsets that. So in this case, when I come here, I need to tell Excel to say, recognize the 0 at the beginning. Yes, Excel can recognize when it's in the middle. But when it's at the beginning, it doesn't recognize. Okay? So in this case, I highlight the cells which I'm dealing with. Then I come to where it says general here. I change it to text. I come here and say text, which means now to be able to recognize the 0 at the beginning. So I enter my phone number, now it's able to go through because it's still keeping the 0. Okay? Alright. Now, I've shown you how to do a validation of text length and also how to change the format of the cell. Okay? Alright. So, let us look at date. In a case that you are dealing with just the same thing like entering dates, probably dates of birth. If you're entering date of birth and you only want people who were born before 1990 or something, you can be able to enter that by highlighting. Then you come to data validation. Under data validation, you come and say date. Under date, you have got between. Already you understand these things, right? It's just a repetition. So you can say between, not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, or less than. Okay? So if I say greater than, what date? What's my start date? Probably my start date should be, let's say 01/01/1990. Okay, that's my start date. So if I come here, if I enter 02/01/1990, it's able to go through. If I change this to 80, I have a problem. You see that? Because the dates going up have no problem, like dates which are coming close to our current date, no problem. Going backwards, we have a problem. Now I understand that we get to have a lot of problems when it comes to dealing with greater than and what. So these things, the best way for you to be able to learn them is to try them out. You can go there and say, okay, I'll use greater than, less than. Alright? Let us look at another one. In a case that you're dealing with, the people you are entering, you want them to either to say are male or female. Now, some people, when you ask them, which sex are you? They'll say M in the text, right? Because they are lazy to retype the whole one. But in data analysis, when you're analyzing data like that, you have a problem. M and male, they are two different things. So you might have a challenge normalizing the data. So to avoid all those hecticness of normalizing data, you can just create a list for them, whereby they can select the data from. So in this case, I just come here and say data validation. I come here and I say list. Under list here, what I can do is that I can say male, comma, female. Okay? Have you seen what I've done? I'm separating them by a comma. I'm not spacing them. I'm not what? Just putting a comma. Alright? Then I say okay. So when I come to where I've highlighted, I can come here and say, oh, this is male. Okay, this one is female. Just like that. So you make the life of the respondent easier, and you make also your life easier. Okay? Because when the respondent finds it easy to answer your questionnaire, they'll be quite honest with how they respond. Okay? Alright. Now, you can be able to do it in this way, or there's another way you can be able to create a drop-down list. I can create my drop-down here, list here to say male, then female. Okay? Then I can come here, highlight. What I'll do is that I'll still go through the same process. When I go to data validation, then I come and say list. But this time, I'm not typing it. I'm selecting from a ready-made list. Okay? So I can just click on that, then come and select my list. Have you seen? The cells have been picked up there. When they have been picked up, I click on that part. Then it's showing me where it's picking the cells from, the list from. And I say, okay. When I come here, I have no problem. It still does the same thing. So in a case that, another type of sex has been discovered, they can come and change here and put another type. It's possible. Okay. When you press M, no, it doesn't automatically select now. Yeah. That one is when you, I don't know if you have used Access before. Okay. All right. Okay. So now that's how you do it. Now, in a case that somebody comes and makes a mistake and puts a 5 there, it gives them this doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for the cell. Now, it's telling them that this does not match, but it's not muchly helpful because it's not telling them what they're supposed to do. Is it possible that we can instruct Excel when somebody makes a mistake, what is supposed to say? Let's try. I've got this validation which I've done here. I come to same data validation there. Then I say okay. Then I want to tell them when they make a mistake that you know what you're supposed to do this is this. So I go to error alert. I've got an error issue, right? So error alert, okay? So now when I've got an error, what do I do? What should be the title of my message? Say, please not. Okay. Then my error message, please select from the drop down. Okay. And I say okay. So when I come here, I put something like a 1 there. It tells me, please not. Please select from the drop-down list. So now it becomes more user-friendly because it's directing people on how they're supposed to go. Okay? But some of you might want to say, I want, before the people make the mistake, they should be given an instruction. So even before they enter or make any mistake, because you want to be quick. You don't want to be always people correcting. It might take time to correct that data. So what you can do is that you just do the highlighting, the same thing. Same thing. I go and say data validation. Don't worry about this because there's another validation there. So I'll just say yes. So now this is an error message. But before they do the input, there must be an input message which says not select. Okay, whatever, I'll not go to write the all of it. Okay, but you will type in the proper diplomatic words there. Okay, when I do that, even before they enter anything, not select. Okay, so if I click on this cell, it tells me not select. So it will come out as you typed it there. Alright, let's move on. Let us look a little bit at data cleaning. When you have got your data, what are some of the basics that you can be able to do in your cleaning of data? Okay? So I've got some data here. Now, if you look at my data, you'll see that some have got blank spaces. Have you seen this blank record? Blank records. It has also, have you seen some, they start, there are spaces before them. Okay? Alright. Now, the challenge that you might face with this kind of data, when you want to run some few things, you have some problems. For instance, if I say I've got let's say I say put Monday here, okay? Is it Monday there? Then I want to run it down. So for me to run it down, I have to double click that square solid that square solid on the corner. So if I double click it, it's supposed to run down to the end, right? Okay, so if I double click it right now, you see that it only runs up to that point. Why? Because the space which is there is unable to note that this data is together. Okay, so those are some of the problems you might face. So how do I get to remove spaces in my data set? Okay, so the best way that you can be able to do that is I can highlight. If I press Ctrl A, it will highlight up to the point where there is a space, but if I press again, it will highlight everything. Okay, you can be able to do that. Then when you go to the Home tab, under the Home tab, you can come to Find and select. Under there, you go to Special. Go to Special. When you click on Go to Special, you can be able to tell Excel that I want to find the blanks. And click on that, you have got all these other things. We'll look at them later on. So I click on the blanks, then I say OK. You see that all the blanks are highlighted. You see that one? So if I scroll down, all the blanks are highlighted. Now, if all the blanks are highlighted like that, I can even delete them. If I come here and say delete, because they are highlighted, I can come here and say delete cells. So I'm saying shift up. I might have a problem with this one this side. Okay, that's worked out. So all the blank spaces in my data set have been removed. Now, just after removing your blank spaces, you will notice another thing. When you've got your data which is got spaces before the word, you have a problem when you're analyzing data. Why? Because if I try to sort this data, it won't be able to sort correctly. Because in Excel, a space is not empty as you see it. It is a character. Now, since it's a character, that character comes before the alphabet character, which means the space has got a higher ranking than the A. Okay? So if I come here and I say, let's do some filtering here. Let's say sort A to Z. I want to sort A to Z. Continue the current section. Let me scroll down. Let's look at it very. Okay, have you seen that we have got A coming again there? But we said sort A to Z. We have A there coming. We have got B again coming. As you go down, you'll see that those ones now, which have got lesser space. Now A, which has got no space, comes there at the end. From there, your sorting becomes okay to the end. But those which have spaces, they are put forth ahead of those without spaces. So if you do that, and you're not aware of that, you might think you've done the right thing, but it's not actually so. So I just Control Z to put them back the way they were. So when we have done that, we might have to remove the spaces. Now, how do you remove spaces at the beginning? Okay, we'll jump into the future a little bit. I'll come here, I'll insert a new cell, a new column of cells. How do you insert a cell? A column, yeah. I've highlighted. After the sub general, this one. Okay, so we've got insert there, and it works out. Okay, so we'll say equals. All right, this is a small formula. Equals. What's the formula? What's the formula? What's the formula? What's the formula for removing spaces? Trim. Okay? Trim. What do you want to trim? I want to trim that text there. Okay? Then I close. Okay? Then I press enter. So any space that is before and excess space in between and other space after is removed. Excess space in between is double space. Anything double and above. Okay. So when I've done that, I just click on this angry rabbit. Okay. When I say angry rabbit, I mean that Kamakona Shana. Describing it it's a bit okay. Have you seen what has happened? So now your data has been trimmed. Oh, how it this angry rabbit here, Control Z. This angry rabbit here is that if I double click it, it's just the same as dragging it down. Okay? So the angry rabbit, you double click it, it goes down. But you only have a problem if you have got space records. Okay? Okay. Empty records. Empty records. So now, since you have done that, you have got this record here and that record there. But they're the same, right? So you want to remain with this one, which is okay. So there are two ways you can be able to do this, depending on how you're doing it. If you want, you can hide this cell here, this column. You can hide it. If you want, you can, before I go there, why do you want to do that? Because these two are different. This one here, have you seen what is showing you there? That's what is being kept in the cell. But this one here, what is being kept is a formula. So if I come here and delete that one, this one is gone because it's depending on that. You get it? Okay, Control C. So now what I want to do is to say there are two ways you can be able to tackle this. Two ways. There are some that wouldn't want to tamper with the original data. One way you can do it, you can create a new, you can duplicate the record, the Excel file, right? Whereby you leave the original data and have to deal with the duplicate. Or what you can do here is this. You can highlight this one, then hide it. How do I hide? If I double click, right click there, I can say hide. Okay? That one is hidden. Then I remain with that one. Yet it's still a formula. It's still a formula. It's speaking from that hidden. Because no one can go and delete what is in the hidden file unless they unhide it. Okay? You get it? That's one way. The other way, just press Ctrl Z. This data which is correct, I can highlight it. How do I highlight it? Control Shift, drop down. Oh, no, not a drop down. Down arrow. It highlights everything up to the very bottom. When I say Control Shift, you are pressing and holding it down. Then I say Control Copy, Control C, that is copying. Then I press Home to go back up to the top record. Because I don't want to scroll. If I'm dealing with thousands of records, I don't want to scroll. Okay? If I press Home, I'm going back up. When I come back up here, I can go on the first record, which I'm dealing with, and I can replace it. How do I replace those records there? I don't just Control V. Why? Because what I've copied there are formulas. So I'm going to tell Excel don't put the formula, but put the value that the formula is returning. Is that quite clear? So I right click there, then I say paste as value. So I paste as value, and it is done. When that is done, now I can say thanks Excel, but I don't need this anymore. I can delete it. Okay? So I can just come here, delete. I was just deleting what I highlighted. I won't change the formula because I copied what was there, went and pressed the side. Okay? So you have done some of those cleanings. So some of your things that you can be able to use for data cleaning, I'll show you, because a lot of them you might have to use formulas. Okay? So I'll show you as we go on. But that was just a preamble to it. Now we have done this. Let us look at some of the things that you can be able to use. Probably you're given a sheet and you want to do a bit of auditing. Okay? This is an auditing tool that you can be able to use. When you're given probably a tabulation and there are formulas which have been put there, and especially when it's in accounting, you would want to find out how did you come up to this total? What numbers did you use to add to this? If I delete this number, does it affect any addition? Okay? So you do what you call trace. Okay? Now, how do you do the trace? If I go to, no, what is it? Formulas. When you go to formulas, if I come to probably this total here, I've seen it's a total here, I can be able to trace its precedence. So what was used to add up, I'm able to trace it. So I'm able to show me that it used that, and that to come up with that. I'm just tracing where this is coming from. Okay? Alright? Then I can be able to trace the dependence. So if I come to this number, for instance, that number there, I want to know the dependence. What are the dependents? I can come here and say trace dependence. So I'm able to see the dependence. So this one is dependent on that. Okay, so if I remove that one, you see, it is affected. So I'm just doing a trace. That is just some few auditing tools that you can be able to use. If you are in the auditing office, you go to an organization, they present you in an Excel sheet, you can quickly be able to check what did they use to come up with this and this to do that. I showed you earlier on how to use filters, but that method which I showed you is a bit cumbersome. There is an easier way, and that is by using slicer. So it is one, it's easier and it's smarter and it's user friendly. Okay? So how do I do that? If I'm dealing with a data set, I have to make sure that I make it a table. Not just a table whereby I put boundaries, no. I make it into an Excel table. Okay? So I just click in the table. Then I go to insert, then slicer. Now if you're using 2007 Microsoft Excel, you will not have this one. Okay? But 2010 and above, you're okay. So I go to slicer. When I click on slicer, it will give me all the headings for that table. Okay? When it gives me the headings, I can select all the headings or just one heading. So if I can select region, I say okay. It will give me a summary or a grouping, like all of them they're summarized into one. All the similar names are summarized into one. So I've got under region, I've got central, east, and west. Now what is the purpose of all this? If I want to know all those that are in Central, I just come here and say Central, and I have Central. If I want to know those who are in East, I just click on East, and I know those who are in East. So this can be easier to pass on to your friend to say, okay, if you want to find out this and this, instead of creating different sheets altogether, it's an easier way to filter your data. If you want that, there. If you want to remove the filter, you click on that. The filter is gone. Now, at times you want to do multiple filtering, right? And the region, and the first name, and the item. Well, that's easy, because the same thing that you did. Okay, before you do that, you can actually be able to remove this slicer. How? By deleting. Pressing the delete button. Just click on the edge, then press the delete button. Alright? Now, let us try to insert two slicers. So I go to insert, and I go to slicers. Now I can be able to select region and probably item. By just ticking, if I want, I can even select all of them. So I say OK. Now I have two slicers there. One is for region, one is for items. So now I want to find out those who are in Central and they have got pencil. And I have that. Oh, Central. I didn't mean Central and pencil. I meant Central and pen. You click on pen. You have that. They're in Central and they have got pen. It's an easier way to filter data. Easier and smarter way. Okay? Now, if you've got issues with branding, because some companies, they will tell you always use brand colors for branding colors. That's not a problem. You've got a variety of colors here. You'll be able to select the one which suits better. Alright? Okay. So I'll not show you these nitty-gritties. These are just sorry? Yes, the way it appears, yes. So if right now, if I save this the way it is, it just come out the way it is. So if the person doesn't know how to use slicers, they will think that is all. Yeah. So they must be just, it's easier to show them and say you do this and do that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's how you deal with slicers. I think we are at 1931. We now open up to all the questions that you noted down. We'll attend to them as quick as possible. So some of you might have duplicate questions. So we'll answer them as quick as possible. Then if there is more time, we'll proceed. Okay? Alright, at this point, who's got a question? Who has a question? Who has a question? Was it clear first of all? Was it clear? Mr. Thomas, was it clear? Was it easy? Last time. What happens, Mr. Thomas, if you go to the formula? Okay. But is there any question? Is there a part that you feel that you don't clear? Is there any part? Yes. I need you to be a little bit more louder. Changing the format of the cell. Okay. So when you're changing the format of the cell, let me just come here probably to an empty sheet. By default, when you open Excel, the format is in general because it's expecting anything from you. Okay? So if you want to change the format of the cell, if you are probably in accounting, if you write 20,000, you don't want it to show like that. You want it to show in a more presentable way. So I can come here, click on that cell, come and say put accounting. Have you seen it gives you an example here? So I click on accounting, then it puts that. I've changed the format. Okay? So probably if you are putting a date, okay? No, let me use the date. We'll use the date later on so that I can show you properly. Okay? So if probably you are putting IDs, so some IDs can appear as 012. Okay? It's an ID number for somebody. So if I press enter, it's not showing the whole of it. So in order for it to show, I can change this to a text format. So I come here and say text. So when it becomes text, I can put the 0 now and it's able to do that. Now this formatting, when you're putting a format, it only applies to what you highlight. If you haven't highlighted it, it won't apply. Okay? So if you say this whole entire column here, bam, you want it to become percentage. If you want it to become percentage, which means everything you enter here will be changed into a percentage. If I say 3, it becomes a 3%. You see that? If I say 0.3, it becomes 30%. Because 0.3, you know what percentage is? 1. 1 becomes 100. So it takes up that. See that? Make sense? Is it clear? Okay. Any other question? Trimming. Let's go to trim. Where are we doing the trim? Data cleaning. Yes, please. I need to know where you're not clear. Okay, so I've already messed up that. Okay, what I'll do is this. I'll just do one line, like here. So I put some spaces behind there at the back, right? When I come there, I quickly insert. I've inserted there. Then I want to trim this. Okay, so I just say equals. Then I say trim. Okay, I didn't explain it, but okay, I'll explain it. When I type something and the formula shows up, I can press tab if it is the one which is highlighted and it will pick it up. Okay, so if I press tab like that, it picks it up. Then I come and select the text which I'm dealing with. Then I close. When I close, I press enter. Everything has been trimmed. Okay, so now how did I copy it? Right? So the copying which I did, for instance, if I run this down, okay, it is running to all the way to the bottom line and it's still highlighted. You know how to highlight, right? Okay, so I'll skip the part of highlighting and say copy. I copy that, right? Then I come to those cells where there is a problem. Then I right click and say paste as value. You see that one? So I'm pasting this which is here. I'm pasting it there. Because this one you know that's a formula, right? So I'm coming here where there's a problem and copying the values, not the formula. That's what I'm using paste as value. When I do that, you see that there has been replaced. Then deleting this, you know it. Okay, is it clear? Okay. Any other question? Yes, sir. Which one? The headings for, is it for this one? Oh, this one's on top here. No, right now I just typed them. I just type them to say this is one number. Then I even just that blue color, I just to do as I did at first when I highlight something like that, then I can click on that and it becomes like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Should I take it that we move on? Okay. So now we move on. We did slicers. Okay. We've got pivot tables. Now, if probably you've done SPSS or you've done data, you would be able to appreciate pivot tables because they give you a summary analysis of your data. Look at this. I've got this table. I'm using a small table for you to easily see the changes, right? I want to be able to do some correlations. Not necessarily correlations, but I want to be able to do some analysis here. I want to know how many people that are in Central and how much they have altogether. Okay? So for that to happen, what I have to do is that I have to click in the table. Now, if I'm dealing with a pivot table, I have to make sure that the data is in a table format. Okay? Because the advantage of a table is that I can continue adding data and so for instance, this data here, I can continue adding it, like say Central, I've seen it has been formatted into a table. So I can continue adding data and it is quickly formatted. Okay, so I can say 10 there. And I can give it a number of probably 36. Okay, that's the advantage of the table. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on that and then say insert pivot table. I click on pivot table. What happens is that Excel automatically knows the parameters of the table. This is why you're seeing these dancing ants, and this table has been given a name. If you want, you can change the name of this table. There is no problem. When you change it, just remember what name you've given it, just in case you want to make a reference to it in the future. Okay? Now, what it's asking me is that select a table or range, and it has given it a name there. And this name which has been given, it is representing this selection here. Then, if you want, you can use external data source, which mostly you will not be able to, you will not end up there. Then the next thing it's asking you is that should this table be put on the same sheet or should be put in a new sheet? So right now it's saying new sheet, which means you open a new sheet. But for us to easily see the changes, we'll say existing sheet. Okay? So now here we can just make a selection where we want the sheet to come. We can say, okay, we want the sheet to be there. Even if you choose few cells, it will automatically structure itself. Okay? So when you've done that, you click on that. Then when you're done, you just say okay. Now it looks a little bit messy. Do not be distracted by this here. Okay? Don't look at that. What I want you to focus on is this part and these 4 points here. This part, don't worry about it. Okay? So now, when you're tabulating data, you would want to know what variables you want to use. Okay? So for instance, I want to find out how many units are in each province. Okay? So which means I want to have a line from a column for province, and I also want to have the column for how many units are there. So for me to do that, I can be able to say this region here, I can bring it under column, not column, I'll bring it under rows, so it becomes like that. If I put columns, it's going to be that way. So people easily relate to columns. So I bring it under rows, rows. Then here where it says value, I can bring in the item. Okay, item. So okay, I'll bring an item and also bring unit so to see the difference. Okay, come on. All right. So now what is telling me as right now in central there is a count of 6. Okay. Now what is this count? What is it talking about? It's talking about here under central. These 6 are the pencil, like under central 1, 2. You've got pencil there. You've got that. You've got that. Okay. Then under east, those under east, you've got this count. Okay. That count there, that count there. Then west there, the total count was to 9. Okay. Now you might not be able to understand it because we are dealing with letters, actually words. Let's try to work with numbers. So I remove the count of items. How do I remove? I just double click on it and take it back. I come with units. Okay. So I come with units. I drop them there. Now automatically, what the thing with pivot tables, when they detect their numbers, it gives an initial sum to it. When it detects that these are letters, it automatically detects, okay, the most reasonable is a count. So under here, it does a summation. So for all the units, for those which are in central, it has given us a summation. So if you count under central here, you've got this central, you've got a 50 there. Under central again, you've got a 27. Under central, you've got that. If you add up all that, it will take you to. And if you do west, it will do the same. So you are easily tabulating your data. Doesn't it make more sense? For instance, this was an election. So it's now telling you that in Central Province, these were the number of votes which were gotten. In this province, these were the number of votes which were gotten. So it gives you afterwards a summation. Okay? Alright. Now, in a case of a count, if you want to change this to a count, like this summation into a count, what you can just do is you right click there. When you right click, you say summarize value by count. So I can be able to do that. Then it summarizes the value by count. Now what is the count? It's the number of appearances. Okay? We're not getting the results, the actual results, no. How many appearances happened in Central? Okay? Then if I want, I can say, no, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at getting the average. So what was the average for each province? So the average was this and that. Does it make sense? Okay. Now they might ask you to say, we want you to show us the average, the count, and the sum on the same table. Now, how do you do that? Show us the average, the count, and the sum on the same table. It's simple. Have you seen that we're doing the average and the sum for the same thing, which is unit, right? So what you do is that you just grab the same unit, bring it again here, pump, and again you grab it. Since there are 3, right? Double click it, grab it, bring it again there. So now what you have 2 sums here. One has to be a count. So for us, for one to be a count, it depends in which format they want you to lay them out. If you want to change them, you can just come here, shift these ones, take this one and on above the other, it will shift, right? Yes. Okay. So now, when you do that, you can come here and right click, then change this to summarize by count. Okay. So you're having a more interactive data. Okay? Now, there's more that you can do with this. So for instance, I want to be able to say, I want to tabulate this data as region. I want to get region and the people who are in that region, so I can find the units they got. Okay? So it's supposed to show me the region and the person, and the value should be units, right? So for that to happen, I have to remove these ones. Let's remove these. Sorry. Okay. So for that to happen, what I do now, I've got a region already there. Then on my column, I can bring my first name. You see now we've got the province, then we've got the first name. So what are the values? The values, you can either bring items or you can even bring units. So I can come bring units there. Then you can be able to tabulate it. So what we have here, you've got the grand total there, then you've got this there. If you look at View, this is what you got in Central. Jardine in Central, you got this. So right now what it's giving you is a summation of it. Okay? If you want, you can change it to a count. Does it make sense? Okay. Let me show you another one. So let me try to deal with, let me remove first name first so that it becomes easier to see. So right now I can do a filtration. How can I do a filtration? A filter, I can come and get the name and bring it in the filter there. So I can just say I want to only to see what John's got. And I say okay. So everything that is going to show there is what John's got. Either in any of the provinces. Does it make sense? Okay. Then I can come again. I can say show all. I can select another. Then if you want to select multiple items, you can just click on that one and say John's and Andrew's. Then just say okay. Then it gives you that. Doesn't this make life easier? So far, have you seen where you can be able to apply this knowledge at your workplace or whatever you do? Because the most important part, the most important part is to be able to always relate the knowledge that you are getting to what you are doing and see where you can be able to apply it. And you might have a challenge transferring that knowledge to what you are doing. There's always that come a bit of a challenge. It's just like somebody gives you an example, then they give you an exercise. There is always that come a gap, okay? So if you've got that challenge, what you can do is that even as we are still doing this, if your data is not sensitive, you can bring it so that we do it together, so that it can be easier. And if it's sensitive, you can alter it, or you can just be able to tell me, okay, help me out with this and this and this. I'm not going to do it for you, but I'll show you how to do it. Okay? Alright. Does it make how you change that is when there are two ways which you can do. Okay, just here where there are values there. Have you seen this slot here is for values? Okay, so I just come here and right click. Okay, when I right click, I go to summarize value by. You select. Now you've got many options. You've got the mean, you've got the product, the max. But I just need to show you one or two. You need to be able to do the other ones. See that? So now I'm going to say count. Have you seen that they have changed? If you want. So if you want both, you've got count, you want to have sum, you can drag the same one, drag it again. When you drag it again, automatically this one goes by default to sum. But don't always think it will always be like that. You just have to counter check, and if it's not what you want, you change it. Any question on pivot tables? Sorry? Oh, that part? Okay. So let's want to do this. Let me just quickly remove this. I'm just highlighting it and deleting it. Okay. So this is the genesis. Okay. Creating a table is vital. Okay. There's no problem creating the table. If you have a problem, there's a video for it. I'll share. You click in the table. You just click in the table. When you click in the table, now you go to insert. Under insert, you go to pivot table. When you have selected the pivot table there, then you select new sheet, but we're going to do new sheet now since we already did existing, right? So we're going to use a new sheet. So we'll say okay, then get a new sheet. So from there, I say don't worry about this. Okay, you just start now dragging these things. Now, what I would advise you to do, you do this, but go also make your own mistakes. Right? Go drag things on different places. Your machine will not crash, I promise you. Okay? So try to push them around. When you make mistakes, you'll be able to remember very well what you're supposed to do. Okay? That's how you do that. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. For what is coming up next, we might not have to be able to do it because we have only 4 minutes. Any question? And before anything, I always advise people to say, find somebody who is able to teach. This trick that you are learning at your workplace. When somebody is doing something wrong, show them how it's done. Don't say probably they'll perform me or what. The good thing about it is this. One, if you teach somebody, they become dependent on you. The other thing is that you become better than you were before. So then they may become a teacher, but you will become the master. So try, by all means, find somebody who can teach, whether be it your partner at home, your kids. I think this is something which you can be able to tell your kids to say, if you want to watch TV today, I want you to learn this. And before they know it, they'll be good at it, not knowing that this is what you will do with them. And they'll really be grateful when they meet up with their parents and say, okay, I'm able to do this the best time. Okay? So try to find somebody that can be able to teach. Any question? Sorry? When you're dragging, click and drag. Yeah. Click, drag it. Click and drag. Okay. Another question. Okay, let me share the video with you. Let me share the video with you.